As we all know, playoff intensity has a way of bringing the worst out of players. The faster pace of play, when every game matters most, seems to up the extracurricular antics displayed. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the biggest jerk moments displayed over the years during the playoffs. And with that, here are some of the top jerk moments we've seen from the postseason alone. If you've followed Lundqvist over the years, you'll definitely know that he's had his fair share of run-ins with Sid the Kid in his career. In a little more than 4 years after he called the captain out for embellishment, Lundqvist had yet again another confrontation with Crosby during the second round of the 2014 postseason. During an after-whistle scrum between the two teams near the Rangers' net, Lundqvist saw it as the opportune time to troll Crosby yet again. As Crosby went tumbling to the ice in result of a shove from Dan Girardi, Lundqvist could be shown spraying the forward with his water bottle while skating by. Following the game, as punishment for what was deemed by the league as unsportsmanlike conduct, Lundqvist was dealt a $5,000 fine. As you've probably heard many times before, the playoffs can bring out the worst in players. In the heat of the moment, when everything's on the line, more careless mistakes are seemingly made. And in Game 3 of the 2013 Western Conference Finals, Duncan Keith fell victim to the postseason madness. After the Blue Liner decided to give Jeff Carter a retaliatory slash following Carter's initial slash on Keith, as he knelt down to retrieve his glove, the Kings center was caught in the face by the defenseman's stick blade, which immediately drew a whistle. Keith was given a double minor on the play, while Carter left the game to later return after receiving 20 stitches. Following the game, Keith also received supplemental discipline of a one-game suspension courtesy of NHL disciplinarian at the time, Brendan Shanahan, who had this to say about the incident. "This is more serious than a case of a player simply having to be responsible for a stick," Shanahan says. "It's not an accidental high stick, nor is it a defensive high stick to an opponent. This is a retaliatory high stick to an opponent that causes injury," he says. Typically, whenever the Leafs and Bruins, who have developed quite a rivalry, compete, things tend to heat up. And they did just that during the series between Bruins forward Jake DeBrusk and Nazem Kadri. After the two went at it back and forth during the opening game of Round 1 of the 2019 postseason, Kadri, who had apparently reached his breaking point after DeBrusk laid a slightly questionable but clean hit on teammate at the time, Patrick Marleau, decided to, during the third period, take a run at DeBrusk and cross-check him in the face. This, of course, drew the attention of the officials and resulted in a 5-minute major paired with a game misconduct. During Game 5 of the 2017 Stanley Cup playoffs, in the same game in which the water bottle incident took place, the bad blood between PK Subban and Sidney Crosby that had been brewing all series finally boiled over. Towards the end of the first period, after clashing with Subban near the boards, Crosby took it upon himself to take advantage of the situation by making the defenseman's head his own personal punching bag. The captain could be shown taking multiple headshots at Subban's expense while holding the blue liner, who laid in a vulnerable position. Both were given minor penalties of 2 minutes, but according to head coach Peter Laviolette, Crosby deserved much more time. "I don't understand it," he says. "I really don't understand the call. I saw my guy get his head cross-checked on the ice 10 times. I don't even know what he did, PK. I'm not sure. I disagree with the call," he says. Crosby, following this 6-0 win over Nashville, gave his side of the story during a post-game interview, saying, "He was doing some UFC move on my foot, so I don't know what he was trying to do, but I was trying to get out of there." Regardless, self-defense or not, I think we can all agree that this incident won't soon be forgotten. There's really no understandable reason not to hate the guy that fractures your jaw, especially during a playoff series, as Zach Aston-Reese fell victim to the forward's careless antics in the postseason last year. During the second round of the playoffs in 2018, Wilson is shown giving a high hit to the head of the New York native. After undergoing surgery and receiving several steel plates and screws to put his jaw back together, Aston-Reese was unable to train in the offseason for over a month, and also unable to eat solid foods for much longer. But once he was able to, the forward was sure to celebrate with an Instagram selfie.
Now obviously, the playoffs have a way of getting the most disciplined players to take unwanted penalties. It's just the nature of the beast. But for Matt Cooke, who was making questionable plays on almost a daily basis, this was nothing new. During Game 3 of the first round, with his new team in St. Paul, Cooke was up to his old habits. Not long after the second period had commenced, the forward took it upon himself to acquaint his knee with that of Avs defenseman at the time, Tyson Barrie's. The hit itself immediately ended Barrie's postseason ventures, who wasn't able to skate for 4 weeks, reportedly due to the damage done to his MCL. For his actions, Cooke was dealt a 7-game suspension due to his lengthy history of plays such as this. Although he was made to sit out most of the remaining postseason games for the Wild, the forward lost no income in results. Barrie declined to accept any condolences or get well wishes following the incident from his perpetrator, saying, "It was a pretty emotional time for me, and I just said I really didn't want to talk to him," Barrie says. "It was tough to sit there and watch the team play, so I really wasn't feeling it."
Before he poked the bear in the 2019 postseason series, Kadri also did so the year before. During the final period of a one-sided affair in Beantown, Kadri, who saw forward Tommy Wingels lay a shoulder into teammate at the time Mitch Marner, decided to retaliate by taking a run at Wingels unsuspecting and nailing him into the boards. As Wingels was tended to by the training staff, Kadri was assessed a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. And as supplemental discipline paired with it, the forward was also given a suspension of 3 games. Wingels, who left Game 1 with injury after the hit, didn't return to the series until Game 3. Like I mentioned before, Boston's little ball of hate will do just about anything and everything he can do to make his opponents hate him, and he did just that during the postseason of 2018. It all started with Leo Komarov in round 1 and escalated with Ryan Callahan by the 3rd round. Marchand claimed that with the first victim, he thought that Komarov just wanted to cuddle.
You know, he was getting so close to me that I thought we were building a connection. I obviously read it the wrong way, and he shut me down pretty quick before he had a wife and kids.
Callahan, however, didn't feel the same way. As the forward, when questioned on the incident, said, "I don't know if there's any discipline for spitting in someone's face, but for me, it's worse. It's not the same." Regardless, for future opponents' sake and much of the angered NHL community's satisfaction, the league readily addressed the unsavory acts and threatened that any future licking would be met with consequences.